Let me just make clear how important that is. If you have been told you're a failure throughout your educational career, which you will have ended at about 13, 14, and you go into a classroom, it is like telling somebody who has a chronic fear of heights to go and climb a ladder repeatedly in public. It ain't smart, it don't work. Jackie said, go into the places where those who will not go into the classroom are. A revolutionary concept. Then, when I went down to Chelmsford Prison, the waves of enthusiasm and positive nature from people who had been written off and told they were dumb all their lives, who are welcome, open to learning, and the fact that we can do stuff, we can cope with this. We may never be able to spell that well, but we're not dumb, we can carry on, we have a function. We can function within society. That was very important. That is the basis upon what this revolutionary, simple change to approach is based. Now, having said the prayer of welcome, I now call upon the main player to come up and say a few
Right, well look, ladies and gentlemen, it's a great pleasure to be here, and it's always a great pleasure to celebrate a great voluntary contribution to the work that we all want to see carried through and completed, which is to prevent offenders from reoffending, to help them turn their lives around, to help them deal with some of the issues that have got them into prison in the first place. And this is a really great example of a small project in one prison that has the real potential to grow into something much bigger. And I think in many respects, dyslexia is a forgotten challenge. And it's actually a danger for all of us involved in the justice world. There's no doubt. If you look at the people in our prisons, they come from very often extremely challenging backgrounds, from dysfunctional homes. Nearly a quarter of the people in our prisons were in care as children. So you can start to build a narrative around young people who've grown up in difficult circumstances, who have dropped out of school aged 13, 14, who've not had any kind of parental support and guidance as they grow up, who've gone off the rails, maybe fallen in with the wrong people as teenagers, ended up in our criminal justice system. It's a very straightforward narrative that in a huge proportion of cases is absolutely right. And all too often it is the case that those who end up in our prisons who don't have qualifications, have not succeeded in education, and therefore are left with a huge challenge in the rest of their lives, have done so because of that background, because of the situation and the challenges they've faced. But not always. Because sometimes, actually the reasons for failure in school are much more profound. They are of a kind that doesn't automatically get picked up either in the schools or by families, if they've indeed had a family that have known enough to spot a condition or cared enough to spot a condition. And the fact that what Jackie did was to find people who had been in the criminal justice system their whole lives, couldn't even write a letter, is actually an indication of the challenge that we face. And that we do need to recognise that within our prisons there are very specific challenges that can be addressed and can be turned around, and dyslexia is very clearly one of them. And you know, what you've done, Jackie, is I think played a huge role in uncovering a challenge by winning over now some serious partners to work with. You have identified that there is a big problem in our prisons, there's a problem that needs to be addressed, and you've started to find the ways of doing it. And the work you did in Chelmsford has really started, I hope, a ball that will roll a long way in our prison. And essentially that's what we're trying to achieve in the prison, and I should say the probation system as well, because I don't want the kind of work that you're doing to stop at the prison gate. You know, actually somebody comes into prison for a short sentence, they may not be there long enough for you to actually seriously address the dyslexic challenge that they face, or the challenge of dyslexia that they face. So we may need the opportunity for that work to flow through the prison gate, so I hope your ambitions will spread beyond the gate as well. But what we are trying to do is to open up the system to a whole new range of ideas, and skills and expertise. And when we reform the probation system next year, when we open up the support provided to prisoners, both in their last few months in jail and beyond jail, but as we also encourage our prison system to be more welcoming and encouraging to the kind of volunteer projects that can make a real difference, I think we can start to tackle some of those social problems. And what we're here to celebrate today is one project that has identified one of the big issues that remains all too invisible and has started to get to grips with it, and for that we should say thank you, but also to wish you the best for turning a small acorn into a rather larger sapling and then hopefully an oak tree as time goes by. So well done. I shall look forward to reading the book. You've clearly already made a big difference, and I've no doubt you're going to carry on making a difference. So thank you and well done.
Thank you very much. Thank you.